Dad, I wish you knew something about riding a dirt bike. You've heard me say that in my videos plenty of times. I don't know much about jumping bikes. And the whole point today is not to learn, to try and jump.
Alright, welcome back. You've probably gathered that we're at a motocross track, and indeed we are. And you probably didn't hear too much of me over top of the warming up of the TM. But here we are at Sears MX, and we're going for a little rip today. And this is really the first time I've been on a motocross track specifically for the purpose of riding a motocross track. And as you've gathered from the front end, I'm not here to jump the bike, I'm just here to ride and have a little fun and try and figure out the corners a bit better. And ultimately what I figure out is that my suspension is well past due for some refresh. But here it is, us having some fun on the track. And who's the us? Well, the us is Lance, who just passed me, and he's cut his teeth on motocross, so that's no surprise, plus he's just generally faster than me. Up in front of him, in blue, is Kevin. Kevin's a buddy of ours who's just gotten back from Quebec, and he's ridden some motos, so once again, I'm going to be the slow guy. So at lots of points throughout this day, I get both tires off the ground, which is a feat unto itself, but that's not the whole point. Really what I'm trying to do is get a little bit more frantic as I race corner to corner, and that's more not frantic in terms of, oh my god, I'm going to crash, but more in terms of getting on the throttle and being aggressive. And I think that's where motocross guys have an advantage when it comes to hare scrambles or any other kind of racing, because they're used to really just getting on the throttle and they know how to rail a corner. So I'm trying to learn a bit of that a little late in life. Here's Lance telling me to get my leg up. And here's a bit more of Lance now that he's warmed up. And like I said, this is really going back to the roots for him, because I think this is where he cut his teeth riding bikes on motocross. And coming up here in a minute,
having some fun.
a couple seconds actually, you're going to see him rail a corner, and this is something I'd really like to be able to do. Yep, that's something I'd like to be able to do, is rail a corner kind of like that, nice and smooth, staying on the throttle as you come out of it, and I'll get there. Well, something else I figured out while riding on this track was that I like moto. It's kind of fun, and although I don't really have the timing and really just got to get over that fear of heights thing, but I can see me doing this a bit more. So I mentioned early on in this video that my suspension is pretty clapped out, and it's mostly in the rear, which is accentuated by the fact that I've serviced the front, but the rear shock is pretty smoked, and I'm not sure I have serviced the front by this point, but I think I have. Anyway, I'm bottoming out all over the place, and the bike is bouncing around, but you know what? I'm having a blast. This is a lot of fun. And the other thing I'm figuring out is that a motocross bike, I've always heard, hits a lot harder. The XCW certainly does not. It's a pretty long, drawn, flat torque curve. But if you grab big handfuls of it, it's better for this, and I think it's better overall, which is why I started playing with the power valve. Not today, but shortly after this ride. And it wakes the bike up considerably, and I like that too. Well, there was a little bit of error. Not saying that I needed a cape to stabilize my flight and that I was all heroic, but that wasn't bad. That was okay for my PDS suspension that's completely clapped out, which I do get serviced before the last race of the Hare Scramble series, which has already happened and was the whole point for coming out to this motocross track, because that last race happens at Riverglade motocross track, and it incorporates the track as a lot of woods, and it went well. That'll be the next video I post up. Hope you enjoyed. No, and this is bonus footage. I had to get some video of this young fella ripping around. It was a lot of fun to see him get out here and stretch it out, and he had a few good crashes, and he picked himself up and dusted off and kept going. So, you know, you can learn lessons from just about anybody, and that was a good lesson right there. Keep moving.